This is probably the best time to learn anything, anywhere, anytime. Yet, we always feel lost, we feel confused, we feel overwhelmed, and we never are able to make progress. We're not able to use knowledge as our superpower. But ideally, knowledge will be a superpower if you start learning in a more effective way. And today, that's exactly what we'll discuss. In spite of having so much of information, why is it that we're still overwhelmed? Why is it that we're constantly looking for new resources or new ways of learning? Why can't we make sense of whatever is already out there? Why to even pay for something if you can actually get everything done for free of cost? As I told, there is a lot of information available. Anything, you just name the topic, you can learn it. Let's say you want to learn about rockets. That's equally easy and equally possible given the enormous amount of resources that you have. For every topic, there is a niche community, tons of YouTube videos, podcasts, and of course, hundreds of resources and websites. So if you really want to learn something, and if you're not able to start something, that's just an excuse you're making for yourself. Of course, it's not always about discussing problems, right? We need to find a solution. So let's understand what will be a very effective way to make sense of all the information that is available out there. So before I get into the finer details, let me tell you, for us as humans, we always crave for new things. We're not satisfied with what we already have. And same goes with knowledge as well. You're not satisfied, and of course there's an inherent demand outside to keep upskilling yourself at a regular basis. Self-learning can 100% unlock your true potential, and knowledge can be your superpower. But to make it happen, you need to do some very basic things and get some structure to your learning so that you don't have to worry about how do I get knowledge out of all this information that is out there. Always remember, everything starts with a small dot. To expand your knowledge, it's all about connecting the dots. But instead of that, what we're exactly doing right now is we are becoming collectors and not connectors. I'll explain what I mean. For example, you want to start learning about social media marketing. What you end up doing is you just collect a lot of resources. And because you're in that zone, you're constantly collecting, and everything is becoming a dump of information. So ideally, you're becoming a very good collector, but that's not how it works. What you got to do is start small. Let's say, for example, you collect 10 articles to begin with. So try learning something from it. Try to summarize those content. And that's when a small dot is formed when it comes to your knowledge. And then once you start reading more, let's say you watch some YouTube videos or you go to some podcasts, the dots keep coming up, and now it's on you to make sure you connect the dots. So that's what I mean to say, don't be collectors, be connectors. Now you might ask okay, but how do I know what exactly I want to read? That's the whole point, right? Instead of just reading something and leaving it there, that's the usual practice we have, right? You come across an article, you quickly jump on it, you read everything, and that's it, you forget. So there is only a passive information that you've accumulated, or it's only a very limited knowledge, a knowledge for a limited time, which is of no use. And that's exactly what happens in colleges or schools as well, because you have exams coming up, you just prepare for your exams, and ideally you're just trying to memorize just the day before or a week before, and that's it, it's gone. Because of this, just question yourself, how many of you remember what you learned back in college? Or is it even useful, or is it even relevant right now? Absolutely not. Because I'll tell you, the problem is, whatever textbooks were there 20 years back are the same textbooks we are still using. But just imagine how the world has changed in the last 20 years. My point is, education system is not built for the modern learners. It is failing you. And the sooner you realize it, the faster you can make sense of the self-learning that is actually possible today. My point is, you got to be extremely good self-learners to make sure you expand your knowledge base like never before. Again, as I told, it's not a Herculean task. Once you know the process, once you understand how it actually works, once you understand the technique. Of course, that's the whole point why Zoopily exists, right? We don't want you to be overwhelmed with all this information. We'll help you bring that structure to your learning. Ideally, what you got to do is just learn. This is exactly why you're doing all this stuff, right? Let's say you're collecting resources, or you're going through some articles or podcasts or YouTube videos. Whatever it is, you have that quest for knowledge. You're trying to learn something, but it's done in a very haphazard manner. It's not at all very effective. Everything is just passive learning, and that's not at all useful. And it's a sheer waste of your time, effort, money, because time is money. So why not go that extra step? Take that one extra step to make sure you're actually making sense of all the knowledge that you're accumulating over time. So I'll tell you some basic tips as to how exactly you can do it. so that you can be a very efficient self-learner and knowledge can be a superpower. First thing is, I think I've discussed this previously as well, immersive learning. By immersive learning, I mean if you really want to learn something, immerse yourself into it. For example, let's say you want to learn about Web3, which is the buzzword right now. First check whether you're interested or not. That can happen once you start reading, let's say 5-10 articles. You'll be very clear that probably this is not a topic I'd be interested in. Or if you're jumping with excitement after reading the first 5 or 6 articles, that's an indication that you're genuinely interested in it. The next step is, don't just read the entire article and leave it there. Don't use your brain to store the information. Your primary brain is to process the information. So you need to have a digital system to make sure your entire information is getting stored there. And goes without saying that Zoopily will 100% help you to be that digital system and be a learning companion that will help you at every step of your learning. So now getting back to the topic, as I told, after you read something, just take a quick summary of it. So for every article or video or YouTube video or podcast, you should have these micro summaries written so that whenever you want to retain the information or whenever you want to recall the information, you do not have to go through the entire article. All you got to do is just come back to these summary blocks. In this way, you're actually quite immersed in that particular topic and you're imbibing a lot of information, and that can be very helpful. But otherwise, what happens is you just keep switching between different topics, and because of that context switching, you're not able to immerse in one specific topic. Because of this, there is loss of information. And you always have the self-doubt that I learned this somewhere, but I cannot recall. I'm pretty sure each of you can relate to this. And that's the problem we're trying to solve as well. So my point is, first start with immersive learning. Second thing is, after you're immersed into something, make sure you have these summary blocks. These micro summaries can be your true superpower. Do not neglect it and try making it a practice. There's a saying, right? Old habits die hard. You have to make a deliberate effort to make sure you want to take a context note every single time. Whenever you read something, that context note or a summary block can actually help you eventually. And I'll give you a small example. Let's say you see all these fancy buildings, right? Every building around started with one small brick. But eventually if you see, there is a foundation and there are layers and layers, the floors and floors coming up, and eventually you'll see a completed building. Same way, knowledge grows in a similar fashion. You want to learn about a new topic. Start with just one block or one dot. Keep kind of like accumulating more dots, and eventually you'll be connecting more dots, and that's how knowledge will become your superpower. So try doing it one step at a time. Over the time, the compounding effect is much more stronger. And that's what we've been emphasizing from day one, that you have to understand the power of compounding even when it comes to learning. We've only heard about it in financial terms, but when it comes to learning, compounding has a significant effect because knowledge begets knowledge. Knowledge grows on knowledge. And this is exactly how you can create your knowledge bank or your knowledge base. And that's what you need to do a deliberate effort on. So just to summarize what exactly we discussed, it's not too difficult, it's not too crazy. All you got to have is some sense of commitment, some sense of stake in the outcome. Once you have a particular stake in the learning outcome, then the way you learn things will be much more different. By stake in the learning, I meant to say, let's say you want to learn music. Make sure you have a goal that you want to give a performance in front of 100 people. Because you have a stake in the outcome, the way you learn will be much more effective. It's a very simple technique, but very, very effective. Similarly, you're preparing for Web3. So your goal is to get a job in a Web3 company. Have that stake in the outcome so that you can actually learn much more effectively. In this way, just immerse yourself in learning. Make sure you create these micro summaries because these are the ones which will help you to come back and revise that topic, and you're never losing information that you've collected over time. Because as I told, we don't have time to again go back to the lengthy articles. All those articles you're just summarizing, and this will be your knowledge bank. This will be your knowledge wealth. By making sense of this knowledge wealth, you can actually make knowledge your superpower. That will unlock the true potential which you possess, which is exactly what we require at this point of time. Before we conclude the video, all I gotta say is Zoopily exactly helps you do that. Where if you really want to learn something, you know that Zoopily is your dedicated learning space, or it's your dedicated learning zone. You're going to Zoopily to learn something, and Zoopily is going to pull you back to your learnings. So that ideally our goal is to help you finish more topics rather than keeping and collecting a lot of informations. We want you to be connectors and not collectors. And I think I already gave the context for connectors. Try out Zoopily today. If you don't have access, please comment in the comment section and we'll definitely reach out to you and give you the access. We have already opened it to few beta users and the response has been phenomenally good. And we want that to extend to the wider audience. We will have more demo videos and everything put up in our website and our YouTube channel as well. Do check them out to see how exactly Zooperly can help you at every step of your learning journey. Our whole goal is for you to make sure that knowledge should be your superpower and that should unlock the true potential of you. For that to happen, we need your support, and similarly for these videos to get a wider reach, please do share it in your network and you will be appreciated by your friends for sharing these sort of videos. Unless we understand these techniques, there's no way we can progress further. And that's what we are trying to do. We are trying to spread knowledge and awareness around these topics and frameworks which are not widely discussed and not many people are aware of it. So that's our whole intention. So that's it for today. I hope you all have a good weekend ahead and a good week ahead. So thank you so much. I'll see you next week. But please do not forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to our channel. I'll see you next time. Signing off. Bye-bye.